Hello and welcome to Community Corner here on the Serenity Resource Connector. I am Winsome, and it's always a pleasure to host these sessions here where we have class. So take out your notepads on your pen or your electronic device so that you can take notes because we have a lot that's going to be going on here. If this is your first time tuning in, a warm welcome to you. Welcome back to those who have been journeying with us from day one back in 2021. Or if you recently joined the community, welcome, welcome, welcome on board. Thank you for those who subscribe to the channel. And if you have not yet subscribed, please go ahead and do so. Share the link so that others can benefit from what we learn here on the Serenity Resource Connector. We do this every Thursday, 8 p.m., looking at different areas, Clarendon, and depending on the episode, Manchester, St. Elizabeth, or across the island with our Culture Corner episode with the JCDC. Thank you again, whether you're joining us live or you're watching the replay. And this is a very interactive space, so we ask that you share where you're connecting from. If you have questions, comments, even suggestions, go ahead and share them in the comment section and we will engage you as we go along. All right, so we are talking about the future of water and food security in Clarendon. We know it's not just a Clarendon problem, but we are going to be zoning in on Clarendon to make it more focused. And so we have some experts in the space who are going to be sharing with us. We are going to be bringing them on in a little while. Some of them you will all be familiar with already, but let's meet them virtually. All right, let's start with the other lady in the mix, Tracey Edwards from Plakortis. She's going to have to tell you all about that. That's the name of her business. She's an environmental advocate. Welcome, Tracey, to the Serenity Resource Connector space.
Thank you very much, Ms. Twitter. It's very good to be here.
Awesome. And we are going around. We have with us Garwaine Johnson from the National Water Commission, a regional manager for St. Catherine and Clarendon. Sir Johnson, welcome.
Thank you very much.
Awesome. We also have Eastan Thompson from the Clarendon Municipal Corporation, our superintendent for minor water supply. Sir Thompson, welcome.
Thank you very much for having me, Mrs. Witter.
Pleasure. All right. And we are hoping that Mr. Thorpe from the food department will be joining us shortly. But until he gets connected, we are going to go ahead with the discussion. We have a lot to talk about.
I'm actually on.
You are on. Let's see.
Yes, but I'm having some challenges hearing you.
Okay, and we are having some challenges seeing you.
Thank you for having me.
Right, go ahead and turn on your camera. Mr. Denver Thorpe is from the Jamaica Agricultural Society. A number of you know the entity as JAS. He's the regional manager covering Clarendon. We're hoping that his video will be on soon so that you can see him. But he's in the stream, so you'll be able to hear him, and you would have seen his picture on the flyer. We're hoping to see if he looks the same as he looks on the flyer, because that looks like an older picture. Let's see what happens as the discussion progresses. So let's start with Sir Johnson, NWC. All right, Sir Johnson, tell us what are the major factors influencing water supply and demand in Clarendon?
Okay, some of the major factors that are affecting the water supply and demand in Clarendon are: one, climate change. We have low levels of rainfall happening due to climate change now. So that is one of the main factors affecting water are causing the water deficit in Clarendon. Another factor is deforestation. We have a lot of persons doing slash and burn in the hills of Clarendon that is causing soil erosion, causing some of the sources there to dry up. We also have what we know as salt intrusion, where if you have a lot of overpumping of the wells, the wells are not necessarily used alone by the NWC. Other water companies would have also used the well for other purposes, like irrigation. So overpumping is another factor that affect water demand in Clarendon. Pollution, not just from sewage, that is one. The on-site sewage treatment would have affected a lot of our sources, caused the rise in fecal and total coliform in the Clarendon space as well, and allow the groundwater to be unsafe for drinking purposes. And I can't overemphasize the over abstraction from our aquifers.
That's quite a bit going on there, and I heard the slash and burn. How do you manage? Does your team manage that? Because, as you said, in some areas of the parish, we have a lot of that happening. How do you
Well,
manage that?
we would have had some educational campaign to speak to communities, and every community meeting that we attend, we try to impart the knowledge about conservation in terms of not cutting down the trees to do coal or yam stick. Those things affect, if you don't plant back the trees, the overall soil erosion. We would have noticed some springs that are actually dried up because a particular tree is cut down. So that is critical as well.
Okay, all right. We're gonna go on later into some other info. We'll share some of the things that we want our citizens to be doing to assist the NWC to ensure that we can preserve. All right. Sir Thompson, tell us what's going on the minor water side, some of the unique challenges that we're experiencing in Clarendon.
So for Clarendon, some of the major challenges we face definitely is climate change. I think that affects all water sources all around the world. We have prolonged drought and extreme weathers. For our minor water supply sources, we have a lot of springs and a lot of catchment. So therefore, when we have extreme drought, a lot of our springs dried up, so we wouldn't be able to provide water efficiently to the persons that are in need in those areas. When we have drought, we wouldn't have any water in it at all for our catchment systems, so that's a big problem. We have to resort to trucking in those areas. We have issues with natural disasters. In recent times, we have a lot of extreme weathers like hurricanes, and recently we've been having rainfall, very violent rainfall. So what happens with our springs, we have contamination of those sources. We have surface water mixing with that spring water, and that contaminates the water. So we have to have means and ways to mitigate that contaminated water getting into our systems. So yeah.
All right, I'm hearing quite a bit going on there, and I'm thinking the environmental advocate has a lot to share as it relates to some of those challenges that we're experiencing in Clarendon. All right, if you're just joining us, we heard from Sir Johnson from the NWC, Sir Thompson from Minor Water at the Clarendon Municipal Corporation as to some of the challenges affecting water supply and demand in the parish of Clarendon. Welcome, Lady Dillon. I trust that you have shared the link with the other members of your community so we can have them joining us so they can understand some of the challenges and how they can be a part of the solution. to some of these challenges that's been experienced when it comes on to water. Because as the NWC reminds us daily, water is life. We cannot live without it, right? Sir Thorpe, are you hearing us?
I am hearing you, but very, very low.
All right, let's see if you can respond. Lady Dillon and others that are live, let me hear if you're hearing Sir Thorpe. Denver Thorpe is joining us from the Jamaica Agricultural Society, and we want to hear from him because, of course, food we cannot live without. And so we want to know what's going on as it relates to food. And of course, we can't have food without water. So both of them intertwine. So Sir Thorpe, if you can hear us, share with us the key agricultural challenges, specifically in Clarendon, in terms of water availability and quality. What are some of the challenges?
Okay.
Yes.
So thank you again for having me on. I just want to say that the general challenge that we have is that even though we have a NIC chapter in Clarendon, the demand for water is far reaching in terms of the amount of farmers that we have in the parish and the amount of irrigated farmlands that's available. We have been having serious challenges. Longer dry periods or drought periods, as we might know it, and then whenever it rains profusely. So the balance or imbalance of the system really affects our capacity to produce. So the farmers have been facing that challenge over the years. We have, however, as an organization, looked to address some of these challenges by implementing some projects and programs through the group network of farmers right throughout the parish and the various other parishes in my region. But those are the main challenges that we are having. But in terms of production, it's a direct correlation to the increase or decrease of the productive capacity of the farmer. Because water is not only life for you and myself, but it's also for the plants and the animals that we care for in order to bring them to the consumer.
Indeed. Thank you so much for that. Quite a bit going on there. So let's hear a bit from the environmental side. What are the critical and social and environmental factors that intersect when addressing water and food security in Clarendon?
Your mic is
We are
not
muted.
open.
Let me help you there. Go
Yeah.
right ahead and share.
Okay, so the social and environmental factors that we have to consider are usually, first of all, it's poverty, because that's a whole dynamics within itself. We have the population dynamics itself, where the population is, the demographic within the population. We have to consider vulnerable groups, and vulnerable groups include the children, the aged, those with disabilities. And then we have, looking at the major ones, and then we have the malpractices. Those are some of the social norms. The single most, the largest environmental threat we have is climate change. However, of course, we do have pollution to consider. So we'll consider pollution and climate change, and we're looking at deforestation as well. So those are some of the social and environmental challenges that we look at on our intersection and related to water and food security.
All right, which pretty much intertwines with what was shared earlier. Yeah, so we are right on the money when it comes on to the challenges that we're experiencing. All right, so let's go back to Sir Thorpe. I was hoping to get your photo up, but I'm not getting it on right now. How is the JAS working to promote sustainable farming practices in the face of changing water resources? But there's no two way about it. We've been having some prolonged drought. So how is the JAS working to promote sustainable farming in light of all of those challenges? All right, it seems as if we lost Sir Thorpe, but we're going to go on right over to water, going over to NWC. How does your entity ensure that we have consistent and reliable water supply, not just in Maypen proper, but right across the parish, especially as we're experiencing periods of drought?
Well, under the water sector policy, NWC would have been responsible for certain areas, the utility areas. Um, you have two areas under the water sector policy, the non-utility area and the utility area. The non-utility areas are areas that you have less than 1,500 house per square kilometer. So take, for instance, Maypen. Maypen is a utility area. We don't have necessarily a challenge in providing water consistently to Maypen. We are providing water 24/7 into Maypen to include mineralites, farmers cross, all of those areas. These areas are served by well source. And the underground aquifer is dynamic. So we can get water via wells to serve our larger populated areas, the Maypen, the Newtown, the Lionel Town, the Rocky Points, the Mitchell Town. In the northern Clarendon, we are faced with two dynamics in those areas. So for instance, Frankfield, we have a challenge because where the water comes from is very remote. Cata is about 5 miles from the town, but is in a wooded, hilly terrain. Would extract water from there to get to Frankfield and from two meetings, as well as from Campbell Hill. Those areas are the drought affected because we receive water predominantly from spring sources, and the drought would affect those areas significantly. Um, the other areas that we operate in, the Kellets, they are supplied from spring sources as well in the out of the Bullhead Mountain. Um, the drought does not affect those sources, both the Mason River and the Kelly source, in any significant way. What affects those sources, though, is high turbidity when it rains. So those are the challenges. When we have drought condition affecting like Rock River and some of the other areas, our mode of operation is trucking, to which is not an efficient way of providing consistent water supply to communities. We are also looking at for Chapelton to put in a new system to supply the Chapelton area consistently. For the non-utility areas, I would allow the municipal corporation to speak specifically to those areas because those areas are within their gift, and I don't want to tread on anybody's ground. Thank you.
All right. So yes, so he's up next. Thank you so much for that. And we've had the municipal corporation under the local governance and community development series that we've been having extensive discussions for the past, maybe I think it's almost 2 years now. And we have heard of a lot of projects that they have done across the parish, but we still have some underserved areas. So how is it that the municipal corporation is ensuring equitable access to clean water in areas with limited resources and infrastructure?
Yes. I think the operative words are equitable, limited
Yes.
resources. Yes. So We do a lot of partnerships. We have a lot of collaborations with different departments and ministries. For trucking specifically, we get um, we get funds from Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation. We also get funds from Ministry of Local Government. Not not on a, I would say not on a repeated basis, like a yearly basis, but we do get funds. We partner with those ministries to get funds to truck water to those non-utility area that Mr. Johnson spoke of. We try to prioritize. We try to prioritize the areas that doesn't have any water in it at all. We try to prioritize school, health centers, and so on. We also try to do a lot of monitoring with our health department as it relates to situations. So if we have a situation where we have like an outbreak, probably dengue or some other disease or infection, we partner with our health department to point us in the right direction as relates to where to direct our resources.
All right. I love that. So you're not just hitting and missing, you're being guided by other experts in the other areas. I love that. Right. Sir Thorpe is back with us. Are you hearing us, Sir Thorpe? Your microphone is open. All right. While we wait on him, Tracey, share
Yes.
with us how can communities in Clarendon be empowered to play a more active role in sustainable resource management? We're talking about water and all those goods. How can the communities be empowered to play a more active role?
Communities within the parish of Clarendon requires more education, but also more support from the stakeholders. For example, for communities to play a more active role, they need to know about the challenges they're having, and they need to know what they can do to ensure that they have access to safe drinking water, water for domestic use and otherwise, but also how they be more food secure. Um, I believe that the business sector needs to play a more active role in supporting communities, and particularly those communities, and that could be part of their social accountability. Communities that are close to the business areas, the businesses, I believe, must come on board in supporting those communities so that they are empowered. It's not only by just saying, okay, they know, but what resources do they have to say, okay, if there's an action they can take, how can they implement this action? So for me, it's really that partnership. And I know that Mr. Thompson mentioned that. And however, the kind of support they need for me is more tangible, hands-on support. And the business community, along with the other stakeholders, can play that kind of active role in empowering the communities to do that.
All right. Well, this is a great place to start because I'm sure a number of our businesses might not be aware of how they can actually play a more active role. So, as you said, education is a key component, and that's where we're starting on this episode so that we have a better understanding some of the challenges with water, where we are as a parish, and then we need some specifics as to how the different areas, businesses and residential, can play some active part in mitigating these challenges that we are experiencing. All right, Sir Thorpe, let's talk about the food. All right. How is the JAS working to promote sustainable farming practices in the face of change in water resources? With all the water shortages that we're experiencing, what's going on at the JAS in helping our farmers? We're no longer hearing you, Sir Thorpe. All right, you might have to exit and reconnect. I see that your microphone is open, but we're not hearing from this side. All right. Until we get that sorted out, we are continuing. Sir Johnson, tell us what's going on. Are there any innovative technologies, or I shouldn't say are there? Share with us some of the innovative technologies, because I see the team going off to some foreign countries from time to time on different training experiences. So I know they must be learning about these new technologies. So share with us some of those technologies or strategies being employed to improve water distribution and reduce water loss.
Well, NWC is the leader in the Caribbean when it comes to water loss management. We would have done an NRW program in Kingston, which we reap success, and it is ongoing. And presently, we have another one in Portmore. These are projectized through the MIA International. Um, so it's a co-management arrangement. But specifically for Clarendon, we are actually using the HWM system that aids in the monitoring and control of information from some of our tanks. The tanks that is in mineralites would have had loggers placed there to send back information real time to our managers and supervisors to know if the tanks are overflowing or what is the tank level. We utilize also significantly telemetric systems on our tanks as well. The GIS technology is a main feature of what is employed in Clarendon to know where all our pipelines are, where all our facilities, all our customers. We would have embarked on a customer mapping exercise for the parish of Clarendon to identify using GIS information all where all our customers live and all our potential customers. We are also embarking on using the iJust meters and smart meters where you can actually read your consumption via your phone. So we are putting in that as well. That will also help in the reduction of waste. We're also using flow meters and pressure loggers to control pressure within the distribution network and optimizing the water and minimizing costs in our network, as well as the energy efficient pumps and motors are being installed to supply water to the different areas in Clarendon. Um, yes, you would have seen persons go off to different places to see best practices, and one of those is the SCADA. SCADA stands for Supervisory Control and Data Acquisition. I was one of the beneficiaries of one of those trips, so I could speak all night and SCADA, but I won't. We have a SCADA center in Mona that we can actually see some of our facilities out in the different areas. Satellite imaging is one of the pilot projects that we are looking at for leak detection in Clarendon. We would have embarked on AI, artificial intelligence in Portmore, but we are going a foot further for Clarendon in looking at satellite imaging to identify leak. And we are in discussion now with a supplier to actually implement same. So there's a lot of technology that we are actually using, integrating in our GIS platform as well. Um, and not to outdone what we are actually doing on the technical side, on the commercial side, we would have put in a new commercial CS banner commercial system to aid in our customer service to all our customers. And I must add that with that new GIS mapping project that was carried out, we are now able to identify our delinquent customers and we can target them individually. So I will implore everybody to come in, pay your bill, and allow us to collect our monies. Thank you.
All right, quite an appeal there because with all those innovative technologies and all of that, is that why we're getting more frequent updates as it relates to when the systems are down in the different areas? I realize that you seem to be right on the money when it comes on to which areas are down and when it's restored. Is that part of the
Okay, so I can speak on
innovation?
that. Yes, I can speak to that as well. I'm the chairman of that committee that deals with zoning all of the area island-wide. So we are on a zoning project to zone each customer to each facility. So we don't have to send, so we can target our information to specific customers when systems are out. So that is what we are actually doing. And the GIS technology as well, we can geofence our area if we are doing leak repairs and just target those customers, send a text blast to all of those persons. So we have that technology in house as well that we're actually using.
Fantastic. And I've been seeing that for quite some time now, but there were some persons who were not getting the text messages. So I asked those who weren't receiving to just send a message
Oh,
to NWC to say, hey, I'm not getting access to this awesome
let,
on
let me
time
let,
information.
let, let me address that. If you are an
Yeah,
inactive account holder, then you won't get the text message. If you are an active account paying customer, then you will get the text message. So we are actually differentiating our customers from our consumers. And our non-revenue water program is targeting those inactive account holders and those consumers to come on. And we have made it quite easy. We have an online new supply system. We have an online reconnection system. We have an online payment system. And we even going further. We have introduced the kiosk into our office where you don't have to wait on a customer service rep to collect your money. So we are actually utilizing the technology to our advantage, and we are asking the customers to come along with us.
all right. And I must add that the online is quite convenient. You get to keep track of the balance and just go right ahead and choose your favorite option to make your payment. All right. Just a little plug for NWC.
Well, we are
All
doing
right.
great things.
Oh yes, I must applaud the team. Really great improvements that we have been seeing in recent times as it relates to communication. More so, I've seen dramatic improvement in the communication with NWC, right? And a lot of tips being shared all around. All right, let's go to minor water, and then we're gonna switch back to food. All right, so for minor water. So, Thompson, highlight for us some of the community-driven initiatives or partnerships that you have been using to improve water supply and quality at the local level.
One of the I would say successful partnership we've had over the past years was the water shopping tenants. That was a partnership with the Ministry of Local Government. We had a facility constructed with tanks and filters and so on. So what we do, we chuck water to that system and then persons come and collect the water. We currently chuck approximately 8,000 gallons up there per week. It has been fruitful. Persons have been collecting the water, and it somewhat reduced the burden of us after chucking that water house to house. So I think that was well received by the community. That is a good initiative. Another one that I personally think was a really good project was the Clarendon project. This one was a partnership with the PDC and the community group in Cologne. PDC sourced the funds. Parish Council was the technical team and management team of that project. I have to say that the masons, the plumbers, they came out and did their thing. That project was well received. I'm particularly very proud of that one. I was particularly proud of the effort of the community to have that project implemented. Yeah.
Fantastic. Nothing like the communities owning these projects and taking care of the facilities once they're implemented. Makes your job easier, right?
Definitely.
Right. And the collaboration is really awesome, because that goes to show that even though the coffers at the municipal corporation might not be able to serve everywhere, there are opportunities to actually partner and make it happen. Fantastic. Yes. And just in case you missed that one, you want to go back and check out the episode in the local governance and community development series, where we looked at minor water supplies, and you'll see all the awesome work that's been taking place in the parish. And I'm sure that a lot more has happened since we had that conversation. All right. We have a question here from Cecilia. Welcome, Cecilia. And just to remind the others that are on, please feel free to share your comments, your concerns, and we'll get to them. Sir Thorpe, are you with us? We have to have the food conversation, you know. What's going on with the connection there? All right. While that is worked on, let's go on over to our environmental advocate, Tracey Edwards. Tracey, let's get you in on the discussions. We just talked about local community initiatives. So on the environmental side, are there any successful examples, be it local or regional, of community-led initiatives that have positively impacted both the environment and food security?
So I want to divert and change our question just a little bit, if you allow me. So sure. I hear the wonderful technology, Mr. Johnson, you're my new best friend. Mr. Thompson too. You're doing such amazing work, but I'm sitting here and I'm looking, thinking, and you have to forgive me because, it's an environmentalist. In a perfect system, in a perfect world, it's great. We don't have a perfect world. Climate change has made our world very crazy. So let's take just a scenario with climate change, and what's happening here is that if we have a disaster of surmountable proportions, we're knocking out that communication, the roads are gone, you can't truck the water, you can't get supplies to communities, and that could take more than 3 days. So even that black tank and water storage have no use. So what's happening now is that we can't do without water. Water for food, water is life. And so it doesn't, for me, I advocate for site level water adaptation and an integrated system where water, having available water, water and sanitation, you're talking about water efficiency, water harvesting and storage at the site level, and we're talking about greywater recycling at the site level, which means household level. Because even if you have those tanks within communities, there are many individuals who can't get to them. They can't get to those tanks. And you're still in Jamaica, we still have people going to rivers, we still have people without water, we still have children not going to school because of that crisis. So I'm an advocate for site level water adaptation. And so there are two things, Ms. Twitter. We have not so much the community, but individuals who can afford to, even in Jamaica, we have water harvesting and storage that can last for months and even a year. So I'm going to address the water aspect first. However, in other islands, so I'm going to use an example, the island of Carriacou, Grenada, where I was living for some time. 95% of the households, they supply their own water. In fact, they don't have a system like Jamaica. So there's no national system to provide that water. There are no surface runoffs, there are no underground. So what you're talking about is that householders harvest their own rainwater. So all the houses, majority of the houses are built on the cistern. So you're talking about that excavation in the ground that can hold thousands of cubic meters of water. And the house is sitting on top of that, and that's how they have their water. Now, they collect their rainwater, it's treated, and so they have their own supply of water. But also, they apply water efficiency. Instead of a top-loader washing machine that uses about 45 gallons per wash, they have front-loader machines that will use about 1.7 gallons of water for washing instead. They have water, or they take a smaller machine. They will use tops that only supplies what is needed than wasted. I mean, one of the things, if we go back to the first question, and I did not talk about, is that the malpractices of consumers is wasting. When a person here turns on the tap, you have this sludge of water. It's not gonna get through to them if you say turn it down a little bit. So water efficiency is about using the right tools to ensure that just enough water is comes through the top. They will use for the toilets and the tanks in the bathroom. Most of them, the older ones are what, 5 gallons or more. The newer ones are 1.3 or 1.7 gallons. You can have decide if it's liquid or you're talking about feces. So you're talking about less. So that's efficiency. So you're collecting the water, but then you're managing your usage of the water. And then of course there's grey water recycling. So water that's used for washing can actually be used to flush the toilet. And all of that it's individuals are doing it. So not the entire communities, but in the island of Carriacou, you see that is a must. You know, for the school, I can tell you that the school itself collects so much water that if there's no rainfall for 3 years, they will still have water. Because in Carriacou, they're forced to do this with 6 months of no rain, absolutely no rain, and 6 months when they'll get rain. So I'm a strong advocate for site level water adaptation, and that is being successful. And there are large businesses such as the Sandals group of hotels that actually does that. And I won't go into that too much right now because I gave that example from Carriacou. When it comes to food security, what is good is that we have community gardens, and we have more people going into backyard garden. So we find out more individuals within their communities, instead of planting ornamentals, which is what Jamaica was known for. Now we see where individuals are looking to say, okay, more fruit trees in their yards, more food crops. They would have their bananas. Some are even going planting yams and tubers. I mean, I have sweet potatoes and other things. And they're herbs. So you spend less in the market. And if something is not available, there's something at home. For me, we're not at the place where we can, and I'm wrapping this up in 1 minute, where we can say that persons can survive based on what we're seeing now. A disaster can happen. There are so many other dynamics happening on the global scale, can happen in Jamaica. What happens if those systems are cut off from communities? What happens to them? We should look more at that adaptation at the household level. And that's what I'm advocating for, and it's very successful in other places. I don't see why we can't push for more of that in some of our communities here.
All right. That's a good point on which to wrap that response, because because we do have a lot of work being done. I know that the Parish Development Committee, they have worked with a number of schools, especially in northern Clarendon, in terms of rainwater harvesting, and some community groups have been doing some of that. But as you said, we need to get more of that done. So, and of course, we cannot exhaust this topic in one night. This is just a teaser leading up to other elements. of this discussion. We're going to be continuing. But before we share with you what's coming up next, there's a question here for Sir Johnson. Cecilia is saying that she recently handled the renovation on a house for her cousin. They have irrigation water but want to get on the NWC system. How can I, who handles their business, apply for water? What will I need? Oh, you're muted. Go ahead,
I,
Sir Johnson. You're
if
muted.
NWC water is in the location, then you can make your application online. You need a, a copy ID like a driver's license. You need proof of ownership, and we that is the two main thing that you need to upload, and then a rep will in contact with you to make sure that the estimate to give you that connection is provided, and as soon as you pay, then we'll come in. We have 10 days to connect you to our supply, to our mains. It's
All
not a
right.
difficult process.
Yeah, so she's not the owner. So she's going to be
Well,
acting
if she's
as
not the owner, then the owner can give permission.
written permission.
Yes, a power of attorney or a written permission to carry out the activity on their behalf.
Okay. Original signature, or are you accepting electronic?
We accept it electronic or original signature. So they can send an email to inform the NWC that they are giving that permission. But that should be notarized.
Okay. All right. So she's thanking you for that. Fantastic. And we have some commendations as we usually get here. JP Goulburn there in Chapelton, commendable move to mitigate against water wastage through leaks. All right, fantastic. And I see the NWC doing a lot there in terms of sharing tips and tricks that we can use to help to reduce the water wastage. So for those who are not following them on the social media platform, you want to follow, because I've been getting some really awesome tips as to how to go about. There are some pipes that will be leaking and you don't know where exactly it is. They shared something earlier about getting someone in to get that tested. So I just love what NWC just with innovation and coming up from the whole water. I know that you had a lot of challenges in terms of the old pipelines and all of those stuff. You're changing out a number of those right now, Sir Johnson.
We are changing. Part of our capital program is to actually change out some of those old pipes. You would know that part of the OUR rate adjustment, the K factor, would have been one of those variables that was put on your bill to help with efficiency. And pipe replacement is one of the efficiency gains that form part of that K factor program. And we are actually carrying out some of those activities.
All right, fantastic. All right, a lot of work being done, a lot more to be done, but the place that we have to start from is educating so that we are aware of what the challenges are, what's been done about them, and what is to come. And you can continue to be a part of this discussion and to learn more. And so Tracey is going to be sharing with us an upcoming event that will open our eyes and our minds to other concepts in other parts of the region as it relates to not just food and water, but other areas. So, Tracey, go ahead and share what's coming up next and where we go from here as a follow up to this teaser that we're having here in Community Corner.
Fantastic, thank you. So I want to highlight the Virtual Island Summit, the Island Innovation Virtual Island Summit. That's going to be happening on September 25th to the 29th. This is its 5th year, and this summit brings together over 500 islands last year. We had like over the 160 speakers, covers different aspects relating to sustainable development and environment. So of course there is renewable energy, circular economy. We have water and sanitation. We have food security, and you're seeing it there on the screen. There are a number of different tracks. This is for me the single most. It's completely online, so everyone can access it, and it's totally free. So we're talking about one that is climate friendly, but this connects people from across the world. We have a number of leaders. Our speakers are dynamic speakers, so there's a lot to learn. You learn about what's happening on other islands, what are the solutions, adaptations, where they are, how they're doing it. And it opens the mind. So it goes into great detail about on these topics. So I'm inviting everyone to visit the Island Innovation website and sign up. And you can actually sign up, and it integrates with a number of different apps. So it integrates with Google. You can actually add the calendar to your personal calendar on your phone, on your computer, and you can sign up for what tracks you are interested in, and you will receive those notifications. And then after this, for Wednesday the 27th, that's the day for water and food security. And so it would be great if our viewers and our entity stakeholders participate in this online forum. And we come back on the 4th. So this is the first hub meeting, and then we come back on the 4th. And we want to be talking about some of the solutions coming out of the Virtual Island Summit.
All right. So you want to stay tuned to get updates on where we're going to be meeting on the 4th, so that we can continue the dialogue once we have gone into those sessions and understand what's happening in other parts of the world. I'm sure Jamaica is way ahead of the curve in a number of areas. As we've known for years, NWC has been voted repeatedly as having the best water, Jamaica having the best water in maybe the world.
We have the best tasting water in the Caribbean and Latin America, and we have won that competition 3 consecutive years. So
there we go.
Yes.
Right, and we want to continue to ensure that we do that, and not just the best tasting, but we want to make sure that we continue to have water, because the population is increasing,
yes,
right? But the water supply seems to be reducing. So we have to find innovative ways to ensure that we sustain what it is that we have. And those awesome strategies that Tracey mentioned earlier that we're going to learn more of, we're going to come back again so we can discuss those and see how we can put some practical measures in place in Clarendon, and not just in Clarendon, but in Jamaica, because I'm sure for Sir Johnson, he doesn't have the liberty of just letting it stay in Clarendon. He has to spread the love to St. Catherine and other areas of the NWC system. All right. So I know that by tomorrow, the views here are going to go up, because that's what usually happens for those who are not able to join us live. But remember, for those who are on, to share the link so others can catch this part of the discussion, so that they can sign up. We're going to be sharing information on the Serenity Resource Connector and other areas where you can get access to sign up. Tracey, you can go ahead and share the link in the comments if you have it there with you. If you have it on your laptop, just drop it in the comments so that they can go ahead, for those who are on and those who will be watching the replay, to sign up, to learn more, so that we can regroup and have more intensive discussion and some takeaways as to how we are going to move forward as a parish, as individuals, as communities, as a parish, and as a nation. Let me thank you so much. So sorry that Mr. Thorpe was having challenges, but just listen out so that we can have more intense discussion as it relates to food security and water security in Clarendon. All right. And there are a lot of things going on. I see Tracey's wearing blue. Sir Johnson's wearing blue. I would be surprised if he wasn't wearing blue. And I have on a little touch of blue. Today is supposed to be Peace Day, and a lot would have happened today. And just we want to just remind you to just give peace a chance. Find a way to talk it out instead of fighting it out. All right, so that we can give our police officers less work to do. And saying that, you would have missed community safety and security if you weren't connected last week. We had the team from St. Elizabeth sharing, and you want to go and catch that. They shared some very practical tips that we can use as citizens to protect ourselves. All right, estimate good night. In order for change to occur, our mindset needs to change as well. Oh, it all starts in the mind. It all starts in the mind, indeed. So we start by, all right, thank you so much, Eniver. I hope I didn't butcher your name. Very informative. All right, so we start by sharing the information so we can transform those minds. So please remember to subscribe, set your notifications so you don't miss the upcoming discussions here on the Serenity Resource Connector. We'll see the lineup at the end of the discussion. Any final thoughts as we wrap? Sir Thompson.
Final thoughts. As relates to water, I just want to say that conservative is the way forward. We need to educate our residents at the parish that we need to conserve water. I've been in a lot of city communities, NWC service communities, communities that is serviced by the corporation, and persons waste a lot of water. I've seen situations, I've seen situations where tanks are filled and the water continuously runs. We need to have that. So we need to have persons with that mindset to change, to conserve and preserve, because the situation is when we have the water readily available, everything is fine. But when we have those extreme drought, everyone is calling for water. So we need to conserve so we have at least more water for those drought times.
All right, awesome. And if they're not sure how to stop those tanks from continue running, they need to consult with your team or the NWC team so they can get some
Definitely.
of those tidbits as to what they need to do to stop that. All right, Sir Johnson, final thoughts from NWC?
Is not free. Water in your pipe is cost a lot of money to get it there. I'd ask everyone to pay your bill, and the tank overflows that Mr. Thompson mentioned. Put in the necessary controls to make sure that your tank, your float valve, your non-return valve, to make sure that those tanks don't overflow. But from the NWC side, our research would have shown that we could have collected at least 40% more if persons weren't coming onto our system illegally. And I'm choosing my words carefully because I want all my consumers to become customers. So please come in. The process is simple, the process is friendly, and to connect to our system, it is relatively inexpensive.
All right, and we have a good citizen here. She reports every leak, or he reports every leak he sees, even if he's not or she's not from that area. And persons from NWC turn a blind eye. All right, all right. So this is good. We need to keep reporting. We need to keep reporting and ensure that it is dealt with. I usually do that. I usually call someone to say, hey, I mean, this water is running away here, and there's some communities who do not have any water. We need to do something about that. Tracey, we're at the 1 hour mark. 1 minute. Share your final thoughts.
Sustainable Development Goal 6, clean water and sanitation, is the basis for achieving all other 60 SDG goals. And so we do not, reducing poverty is number one. We do not have time to waste when it comes to providing for access to clean water and sanitation. And therefore, we need to look at all the solutions and how we are able to apply an integrated approach to ensuring that each and every person has access to clean water and sanitation.
All right. And that's a good way to wrap each and every person, which means that we ought to be our brother and sister's keeper. So what we do in our house affects those around us. So each of us play our part to make the resource available to more people. Thank you so much, lady and gentlemen. It was great facilitating this discussion. I certainly learned a lot, and I'm sure the viewers have too. And for those who are watching the replay, they will be learning even more as we continue. Just remember, please, to share for those who are on WhatsApp. If you don't want to set the YouTube notification, let me give you the WhatsApp. There's a channel, the Serenity Resource Connector WhatsApp channel. You can go ahead and connect there. All right. You can look for the Serenity Resource Connector WhatsApp channel and connect there so you can get updates on the discussions that we are going, upcoming discussions that we'll have here, or easy access to the discussions that have gone on before, so that you can continue learning and being empowered, and also to share so that we can empower those around us. Thank you again for those who were able to join us live. Mr. Johnson from the NWC, Mr. Thompson from the CMC, and Tracey Edwards from Plakortis. It's been my pleasure hosting you. Have a fantastic rest of the night. And remember, sharing is all right. That's